am Jude.
One day I might switch the names around just to see whether you know this.
Oh, yes. They're so close anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, but also you'll be like, wait, no, that's my name. Like,
And if we blended, we'd be Jade.
right. Well,
right?
Welcome to the pod. We're at random chats with Jade. Done.
Yes, just to shorten that.
Shorten that if we need to just branch off.
Totally, we can. We can do what we want, Jade.
Not the topic we're talking about today, but does it keep us entertained? What are we talking about today, Jude?
Today we're going to talk about procrastination.
Wow.
Yes.
Know it well.
Do you procrastinate? That's a really hard word to actually say. It's a
long word.
Yeah.
It's a long word for what it actually means. It's like, yes, it just feels like you're just doing short bits of distraction, right? So it doesn't feel like it needs a long word.
No, it doesn't. But then on the flip side of that, just saying the word procrastination takes me a minute to actually form the word. So maybe there's something in that.
That's a bit deep.
Gotta love the English language, Dade.
You do. So look, Dade's definition for today: a procrastinator is a person who delays or puts off things like work, chores, other actions that should be done in a timely manner. We can talk about timely manner as well. Procrastinators like to leave all the Christmas shopping until the 24th of December, or leave booking things to the very last minute.
Is that true?
I don't believe that.
Leaves everything, because there was a period in my life when I would definitely do the Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Now I would be like having hives at the thought of doing Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve because it's just not enough time.
There's more about your journey, Jude, to be honest. Or like slow or late of doing something that should be done.
You see, I think I always thought it meant something different. I thought it meant, without any definition in front of me, something to do along the lines of just taking a long time to actually make a decision. I thought it was more about decision making rather than doing something.
No, so I've always gone, it's about, well, I think you can put it to both, actually. Like you can making a decision or a thing, or like doing a piece of work is still making a decision to do it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like procrastination's like, I've got some stuff to do that I really should do. It's important things, but I'm prioritizing maybe the easier things to do first. That's one thing I do. So I look at especially at work, right? Like, I've got that big report that I need to write. Or I can do these other smaller little things which are easier to do and not worry about it. But then the impact of that is I leave this too late, the report, and then I have to kind of like go, oh God, I've got to like put more time in it. Like it doesn't always, procrastination doesn't help me at all.
But that's so interesting as well, because I'm now visualizing you're at work, you're at your desk, and you've got your long list of things to do.
Got my papers on my desk.
Yeah, tap, 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 busy. But then you've got your long list. And I think knowing you, as I've got to know you through this journey with our podcasting, is just taking the small things, the quick small things, reduces that list down. You still know you've got this big bit, but in a way, if you've got those small little things, those little things don't jump up at you when you're in the middle of doing that big report, because you've got the small stuff out of the way. Now you can concentrate and focus on the one big long task.
So yes, and so when you start to think about like sense of achievement and things like that, when I write my list, it's like, oh look, you've already done 3-4 things today. You've achieved some things, so now you can give yourself more. The problem is when you just do the little things and go, oh, I'll move the big thing till tomorrow, and then that starts the building tomorrow. So that's how one way I procrastinate. Okay, talk to me about the way you thought about it.
I think like I said, I always thought it was about being able to make a decision, like umming and ahhing about whether to do this, that, or the other. So so I think it was more for me about decision making rather than the act of doing, because I think I'm quite a active person at getting things done. I love a list. My list has got lists. So without a list, I know. Without a list, I'm lost. But yeah, I think for me it was more about decision making. So say I had a difficult decision to make, like be at your mum's 40th birthday party, or stay an extra hour knowing that you wouldn't be able to be at that point in time because you were going to be slightly delayed. Would you stay longer? and let your mum down, or would you go and be where you need to be because that's what you agreed to do? Like those kind of like, oh, I don't know what I should do. I should really be doing this, but this is do you know what I mean? Like that kind of example.
Yeah, I can see that as well. I can see that as, I would say, that's quite a stressful kind of situation to put yourself in.
I mean, that was a pretty poor example, but just in the extremes, you know?
Yeah, I know, but you sometimes, I can relate in some, you do like kind of put off doing something because you're like, I don't want to think about that just yet, or I am thinking about it, but I'm actually making it worse because I'm just delaying the actual choice I need to make at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of thing. So I think that's what I always used to think it would mean. So I was really interested to hear your definition then, actually.
Yeah, look, I think different kind of things can be related. Like, there are things when I look around the house, I'm like, I should do that, but that's just me. I don't know if that's me being procrastinating, but I know I should do some things. Like I know I've got to get the balcony ready for summer. And it's getting
I love your summer balcony.
I know, right? It's lovely, but I've still got to like actually do the work, and then that means I've got to do all these things to be able to get it done. So I've just got to dedicate myself to it. I feel that is a type of procrastination. Yeah,
it absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. I also I actually have, I don't know why I'm going to admit this on a podcast. I actually have a phone called Procrastination.
A phone called Procrastination?
No, a phone folder called Procrastination.
You don't?
I do.
Oh my gosh. Hang on, let's just get right into that.
I know, right?
No, I need, can we?
Yeah, no, like I'll be very honest. Basically, it's got all the apps where I go on dating apps. Because I spend hours doing it. So I procrastinate on these apps. I know, yeah, I could do it on all the other apps, right? But the one that I'm always like, because I'm always like, the reason they're in there, this is interesting. So I've got other apps. So you've got Facebook where you can procrastinate and like get distracted by that, or YouTube and things like that. The reason I put the dating ones in there, because I know I'm going in, and that means I know I'm going to spend hours on it. So I'm like, wow, it's me warning myself you are about to procrastinate. Is
it because you've got some options in there and it's choice related?
Most probably.
Okay. I love that you document this. You probably shouldn't be saying this on the podcast.
I don't mind. I tell people that's why I have these apps in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I also have, and that's the thing. I find all apps or your phone is just it distracts you from doing things.
Yes.
And for me, I'm like, the whole thing is that you're putting off doing something else that is more important, but you're procrastinating and distracting yourself.
You see, that's really interesting what you've touched upon there as well. And I apologise, I'm having a massive hot flush at the moment. It's a super hot day here in LA today, and I'm having a bit of a, so excuse me. But I think it's really interesting because our days are so different, and you obviously have that downtime at the end of your day because you've been working in the day, and my downtime is at the end of the day because I've been doing all the other things that I'm juggling in a day. But one thing I constantly do in the moment is I get my notes app on my phone, so a bit like your procrastination app. And if something suddenly pops into my mind that I know I'm going to forget 2 hours later, I just jot it down. So that list is kind of like an ongoing list. And I like nothing more than kind of like striking stuff off.
Yeah.
And I approach that as in rather than become overwhelmed, because I think a lot of people, when in this day and age, people are juggling so many balls, aren't they? And they've got so many things to navigate.
Yeah.
Depending on, it doesn't matter where you are in your life stage or whatever anymore. I just think that people are just so busy. And so for me, I think it's rather overwhelming to sort of step back and go, oh my God, I've got so much to do. Like, for example, when you go abroad or you go away on holiday and you've got things that you need to do for your pets or your loved ones or your home, to take all of that, like, can be a really big, overwhelming decision. So what I do is I tend to break it down. My mum once says something to me, which I've never lost sight of, which is you have the whole elephant and you have to just you can't eat the elephant all at once. You just have to bite off chunks. So now what I do, and this is something I've learned as I've got older, is just to do it day by day.
Yeah.
So I just think, what's the most pressing thing from that long list that I have to deliver by tomorrow?
Right.
And then that way, there are going to be some things that are going to be longer or shorter. But if I just do it in that way, then I know that I can rather than wait to get that big report done and run out of time, I know that I can just do the things that need to happen by the next day.
Right, and just tapping into behavioral stuff and things like that. Like, but one thing, the saying you can't eat a whole elephant, you got to eat in bite sizes. Who's eating elephants? These like where but I picked up on that. But this is the thing: is if you think around going back to my work example, I said I picked the smaller things first because that small sense of achievement, right?
Right.
And if you've got something that's big, maybe you need to just break the big thing down into smaller things, so it doesn't feel as thing. I'm not sure why it's gone down this path, but I actually run a session with like a coaching session with people, because when I do like a life review with them, to be able to then go, well, let's look at different parts of your life, because people are like, I've got too many things going on, and we break down the kind of things to make it into a small bits of like for people to be able to reflect on themselves.
Yeah, because I think that you've got so many tasks, haven't you, to do?
It's overwhelming. You're just like,
it,
I've got 28 million tasks. I'm not going to do any of them. I'm going to procrastinate on my dating apps.
So on that point, when you've got that big report to do, when you've done your small things, maybe you just do like 2 or 3 parts of that big report, if possible.
It's how you see it, and that's the thing, is that when we start to see things too big, we just shrink down.
Shut down.
Yeah. That's too overpowering, right?
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I've got to take on that. That looks too big. I'm just going to go over here and rearrange my furniture or something like that. You will find something.
Avoidance.
To avoid it, right? And that's where whatever you go and do to avoid it, whether it's like doing more tasks or I go and like tidy a few cupboards, or there'll be things that will help you distract, but you've always got to come back to it.
Yes. And then I guess that feeds back into that definition at the beginning when you referred to the word. I think there was some was it laziness? There was a couple of other.
The one I read out before was a procrastinator is a person who delays or puts off things like work, chores, or other action that should be done in a timely manner. But one other one, procrastination, noun, the act or habit of procrastinating or putting off or delaying, especially something requiring immediate attention. Yeah,
so it is a case, it's also kind of avoidance then, isn't it? It is exactly what we've explained.
Yeah, there's a little like non-Venn diagram. I've got things I should do, things I would like to do across, and things I do when I'm procrastinating over here.
Yeah, right.
The Venn diagram doesn't come together.
I love that.
I love that. That will be our image for this.
There podcast. You go. Perfect. That's so good.
Honestly.
And then I guess if you want to take it down even further, it depends on your personality type. Like if you're an A-type personality, however you operate as a person, because there's some people that are just like such high achievers that these kind of things just don't even probably enter their hemisphere of thinking, because they just get stuff done constantly because they're constantly on the go. They don't have that rest time because they function best when they're super, super busy. But it must be really, really hard for those that, you know, they really do literally do the bare minimum that they need to do. That must be when it gets quite tricky, I would imagine.
Oh, I'm sure that they're like, whilst we talk, always laugh and joke about different ways we procrastinate, people who like do it like that, it must be quite overwhelming at times.
Right.
Because it's like, I just can't get to do these things. And then there could be the other side where you're just like, I just can't get ahead. I know this, that, like, this could be the other side of that, of like, how do you get some sense of achievement if you're just not getting through because you're procrastinating so much?
Yeah, that's true. And maybe they don't even realize that that's what they're doing.
Once again.
Yeah.
So like, I think whilst we spoke about it as a topic of, well, what do you do to procrastinate? We can end on that as well. I've already told you mine. I'm going to ask Jude, what does she do? But I think there's a lot there. And I think it's sometimes, there's like, I guess there's also, I doubt myself whether I can do something as well. So I procrastinate over something like that. It could be a skill, or I don't do anything, so I'm just going to sit on the sofa instead. And like, there's just different ways and shapes of it. And actually, as we've explored this, there's more to it. I think we've both learned and spoke about today.
Absolutely. I mean, I know, for example, that there's one with my candle business that we've spoken about before. I'm doing a lot of procrastination at the moment, and that ties into another part of me, which is that kind of the fear of, you know, throwing yourself out there, which we've talked about previously. So I know that I'm deliberately busying myself in other areas, knowing full well I've got
Yeah.
all of this other stuff to do, but it's that kind of, you've just got to jump on the ship.
Yes.
You've just got to go, and you've just got to kind of crack on and get on with it. But it's very interesting having spoken this at length, because this one came kind of left field, didn't it? And here I am understanding more about the meaning of the word now, and understanding more about myself in the process of when I am and am not doing it.
Yeah. So how are you distracting yourself from doing your candles right now?
Because I'm getting to the meaty part, like the business end, like the financial end, like the costing
But
part.
now, what do you do to distract yourself then?
Oh, well, I've just been utilizing my time more in areas that it doesn't necessarily need to have that much attention.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like day-to-day stuff, but I could take an hour of doing that day-to-day stuff and actually focus on this, but I look at it and I'm just like, don't understand it.
Yeah.
Don't really know what
That's
I'm doing.
so we should apply the lessons that we've spoken about today.
Absolutely.
And break it down into
Yes.
bite-sized elephant pieces, apparently.
Oh dear. Okay.
And look, on that note, I go on.
No, I was going to say we could have your Venn diagram and a giant elephant for the image for this podcast.
On that note, I think it's been a great chat. I think it's actually been a very explorative chat, especially how we both viewed it and how we both deal with it as well.
Absolutely, and I'd love our listeners and our viewers to also maybe share in our comment section ways that they procrastinate, and if we've missed anything in this enticing conversation today.
Do you have an app? Do you have a folder on your phone called Procrastination?
I mean, that is everything and more. Lovely. All
right, viewers, it's been lovely to chat. For you to join our chat once again, please, as I say, write in the comments, subscribe to our channels. The links are on the screen. This has been another random chat with Dade and Jude. I am Dade.
And I'm Jude.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye.